It's so crazy how someone can say something to you, but if you have an internal belief, it's always gonna, if you have an internal belief, it doesn't matter what someone says to you, you're gonna make that internal belief come true. I need the example to get across because it's quite literally the same. Like when a person has a perspective, a set perspective on something, communication only goes through that perspective, and that's all they're willing to hear. Ooh, wow, it has truly been a minute. It is 3:30 a.m. All right, yeah. I feel like I have to record this video just because it's overdue. It's past due. It is been well over a year, well over 2 years probably since I posted my last video. And I had friends that were like really supporting me and watching, you know, some of my content. And they were asking me why I stopped posting. And I really don't know. Like the answer is so, I don't even know the answer. I just did. And I'm kind of tired of doing that because I feel like I do need to share my thoughts. I think we all need to share our thoughts. But I'm tired of kind of just sitting on the same thing and kind of saying the same thing and starting things and not finishing them too. So off principle, I might have to run that back. So we're back. I want to hit on something that I feel like I have been learning for the past year and then some. This is the exact title of the video. Actually, as I'm recording, I don't know the title of the video, so we're gonna see. But it's definitely gonna be about perspective and how actually coming to the, I'm under the belief, I'm under the impression that all communication, or at least elevated communication, like past small talk, past yes or no questions, or questions that have one answer, perspective has a lot to do with how communication is received and interpreted, you know. And honestly, I'm just talking off of experience. Like I'm just a yapper. I'm just here to talk. But I think that perspective truly does dictate, you know, how the conversation is going to go, how conversation is ultimately received and interpreted, right? Like perception is the medium in which you understand information. And I feel like the best way for me to get that across is like with a visual. So I'm gonna draw a stick figure here. Let's see, I don't know if it's a male or a female. You know what? I'm not gonna be problematic today. And I'm gonna draw a line. And I'm gonna show you so far what I have. That line represents perspective. Now, let's look at the definition of perspective. Actually, it doesn't matter. You know what? I will look it up, but perspective is intangible, and that's the point. Perspective is not something you can hold. Perspective, we all know. Like, it doesn't really matter what Oxford says right now because we get it. We get it. Like, we know perspective is the way in which we perceive things, right? If the way you perceive things is jacked up, your perspective will be jacked up. Meaning that when people communicate with you, you will not be able to always receive the message that they are trying to give you. You actually sometimes, a lot of times, may just misconstrue what they're saying, period, because you refuse to receive what they're saying, because you're incapable of receiving it, because your perspective is wonky. I want to hit on that a little bit today. Because I didn't know this, you know? I didn't know any of this, and I didn't understand how it was affecting my life and how it was affecting my mental health, because ultimately that's what it affects. And when your mental health is affected, it leaks into every other part of your life. Your relationships will suffer because your self-image suffers, your self-worth, your self-esteem, your self-talk, the belief you have in yourself, like the value that you do hold versus the value you think you hold. They're on two different, like they're on two different levels, and that's just always going to throw everything else off. When it comes to self-love, I've been seeing a lot of posts about how self-love is not a replacement for romantic love, and it is not. But I would argue that a lot of romantic love is fickle and is backed by the divorce rate. People don't love themselves, ergo you don't know how to love another person, because you will never know how another person feels. All we truly have to understand other people is ourself, is our experiences. That's why it's so important to have sympathy and empathy. Because if you don't, you will not read the room. You will not react properly in situations. Perspective. All right, so we got this wall here between Mr. Man and another person. I'm gonna draw another person now. And I'm gonna draw another line. All right, so that's what we're working with. And not too much, and definitely not too little. This is the first dude. This is his perspective, right? This is his line. This is his threshold. And this person right here, this is their threshold, right? Okay. Ooh. What's 7 plus 1? And let me give them names. What y'all think? For the sake of good demonstration, I'll make it a relationship. And we're gonna name him Marcus and her Carisha. I'm not serious. We're just gonna say boy and girl. I'm not gonna give any names because I'm gonna have too much fun with this and never get to the point because I'm childish. Walk with me. Here's boy. All right, and here's girl. Why make it plural? I'm slow or something. I don't care. I don't care. Okay, this example right here. This is a couple, all right? This boy and this girl, this is a couple. Those lines are their perspectives. This is her perspective right here, and this is his perspective right here. Those lines just represent perspective. The reason I have it as a line is because, like I said, perspective is intangible, but when you think about it as a tangible force, then I think it makes more sense what I'm trying to say. So if you are imagining this scenario right here, the girl needs a lot of reassurance, or the boy, it doesn't matter. But in this scenario, we're gonna do lifetime 101. The girl needs a lot of reassurance. And so the boy is constantly telling her, you're beautiful. I love you. I just want to be with you. The girl then had so many trials and tribulations in the form of relationships that she has a distorted self-worth. Her perspective is off. She has a distorted perspective. That's the best way to say it. Because just imagine if you're constantly in situations, imagine if you're constantly in friendships and romantic relationships or even familial relationships where you're constantly being abused or it's toxic. That dynamic is toxic. It may not necessarily be abuse. Like you could be loved, but it's toxic. Like you are harmed frequently, emotionally, spiritually, mentally. It doesn't have to be physical. Like it's a toxic dynamic. I'm going to leave that up to every person to decide for themselves. But if you were constantly in a toxic dynamic with other people, we can adapt to very toxic and chaotic situations. Ergo, we kind of we become numb to things that could be harmful to us. We become numb. We become numb because humans are, the one thing that we are is adaptable, and we adapt to situations for the sake of survival. Like we are the best species on the planet because of that. However, without addressing it, we become numb to things, and it manifests in a variety of ways, as you can tell, in the world. So say the girl here, like I said, needs a lot of reassurance. The guy is saying everything he can, like, love you, I want to be with you, da 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 da, it's only you. And he means it. If the girl has a lot of self-talk in the form of, what if he leaves me? Why would he stay with me? Because no one else has. But what if he leaves? Why does he want to stay? And this is tricky. Those two thoughts right there, like negative self-talk is so tricky because it almost traps the other person from ever being able to connect to you. Because think about this second question. Why does he want to be with me? Okay. If you ask yourself that question, you have low self-esteem. That's just the reality of it. However, it's so damn low that man probably will never be able to get through to you until you come to terms with the fact that you don't value yourself. It's not that other people don't value you. You don't value you. Ergo, you can't understand why somebody else would. Like now you think they have low self-esteem for liking you because you have low self-esteem. But that's not necessarily the case. It's actually probably not the case at all. But this is something that I have literally had to learn because, well, I ain't gonna say nothing that I ain't had to say to myself or I haven't learned myself or done myself. So with me, what are some other things? If the girl also believes like it's only a matter of time before he goes, what if he meets someone better? That's a big one. If you have low self-esteem, you automatically put people like on this pedestal. You put people like here. Like people are here and you are here. You are here, right? No. Hell no. That's a problem. Because humans are just not that impressive. Humans are not worth giving that much credence. You should never go outside and look at the people around you and think that you are inferior. Of course, just like most people, I don't know majority of the people on the planet, but I know enough. I see enough to understand. This is not the court of law. You are not innocent until proven guilty. We all conceive stand in our mother's womb, and I know that. Most people don't start off here. It start off here. I'm just saying, like that's a whole other conversation, but that's just kind of my rule of thumb. Now that I've lived a little bit of life, I'm only 26. I don't know what I'm talking about. That's how I conduct my social life. I'm not gonna lie to you. I kind of only hang around people that I admire. My immediate family I admire insanely. They're like my role models, but I'm a grown woman now, so the family that I do talk to is by choice. The ones that and it's not just about what people can do for you. It's not about that. However, we live this life. We only get one, you know, and the birds of a feather really do flock the damn together. But any heather, any schmither. I feel like I'm getting off topic. Perspective, right? That intangible medium that really determines how we receive information is very, very important to keep in check. And that's something that, like I said, I've been learning like for the past year or longer, and it's really kind of changed my life when I understood that I don't know everything. And even that, like, it's so crazy how someone can say something to you, but if you have an internal belief, it's always gonna, if you have an internal belief, it doesn't matter what someone says to you, you're gonna make that internal belief come true. As people, whenever we believe something, it doesn't matter if it's good or bad, we make it come true. You know, like if we have a belief that everyone is going to leave us, we subconsciously behave in a way where we create a situation and an environment where the person will leave or the person will feel like they don't need to be around. It can manifest, like I'm saying, in a variety of ways. It's not always needing reassurance. It could be being a workaholic. I don't There's no telling how these things manifest, but this is a real problem because it also can affect like platonic relationships. Like you know those friends that are like really, really people that like, do you know defensive people? Defensive people really struggle with perceiving things correctly. That's why they're defensive. And I am guilty of this. Like, this is the way I'm guilty of this. Like, because I grew up having to defend myself a lot, I've a lot of times been like on edge, on the fence, like ready to pop the hell off at any given moment. However, when you're that hyper focused and like that hypersensitive to someone disrespecting you, you will interpret things as disrespect as to protect yourself. And that's not, as I did to protect myself. And that's not, what if that person didn't say it like that? You know what I'm saying? Like, what if the person did actually mean it like that? And here you go, popping off because you're so ready to do it. It's all with good intention, right? For yourself, but you crazy. Can't trust yourself. You have to come outside of your perspective. You have to become aware of who you are and understand your triggers and understand your your tendencies, you know what I'm saying? Like it really takes a lot of like just coming to understanding of who you are and where your flaws lie. And if you're someone who tends, which I think a lot of people do, if we were being honest, who tends to interpret information that other people are giving through our lens, well, it's going to be hard for people to talk to you. Okay, it's going to be hard to maintain a lot of relationships, no matter what they are, like romantic, especially platonic, very much so, and family eventually. Because look, family put up with a lot, they do, and I mean, family might put up with it forever, but that's if they like me, they're not. So, last thing in this demonstration, I feel like it's also important that I put these lines here because when you make it physical, it's kind of like a wall, but you can come outside of it, you know? You can come outside of yourself. You can come outside of your perspective and understand what the other person is feeling, and vice versa. Like coming outside of yourself, understanding what the boy is feeling. And I think that's the only way for effective communication to be done, TBH, is to understand our own perspective and our own tendencies of how we analyze situations, and then understanding that might not be what that person said, okay? And this can go in either direction. Like, this also happens whenever people are crushing. Like, say this boy likes somebody, my cousin do this. I was gonna air somebody out just now. I was gonna tell some tea. But okay, say for example, you know a guy who really likes a girl, like he really likes her. He gets the courage to ask her out. Whatever, however he shoots his shot. Cool. They start talking and he likes her more than she likes him in this hypothetical scenario. It happens all the time. He likes her more than she likes him. However, the little bit of attention that she gives him, maybe the little bit of attention is her curving him. If he's obsessed with her, he's taking that curve as, well, at least she's responding. I'm talking about extreme scenarios right now, but I need the example to get across because it's quite literally the same. When a person has a perspective, a set perspective on something, communication only goes through that perspective, and that's all they're willing to hear. This is what happens with like deranged people and stalkers and stuff. Like if their prey is actively scared and doesn't want to be around them, which is like likely the case, that does not stop them, that does not deter them, stop them from doing what they're gonna do. It's like it's a reaction, so they interpret it as an invitation. Like it gets weird. It gets weird, but this is why I say humans start here with me. Perspective runs a lot. And like I said, I'm just kind of starting to come to the belief that I do think most communication past the level of small talk and is left a lot up to perspective. It's important to just always be mindful, for all of us to be mindful of our own perspectives and our own biases, especially in this climate where our emotional state is being weaponized against us. You know, there's a lot of divisiveness now, and there's just a lot of energy, like hostility that is present. And I just feel like, you know, some back to the basic psych would be beneficial for everybody because, you know, the world changes, but people don't. We don't change as fast as the world does. Like, we don't truly evolve. If there is, we don't evolve at the same speed as everything else. The speed of technology evolving is not the same speed in which the human brain will evolve. We still are the same people, and we have to be treated as, you know, with such. We're delicate beings, and we're starting to go crazy. That's why I made this video. I'm gonna make more. I really feel like we're going insane, and I don't want to watch it. You know, like even if we go insane, who am I? You know, who am I to watch everyone go insane and watch myself go insane and just like watch the world go insane without trying to say something, right? So we'll be back again. See you next video. Yeah, we're done.